The 2014-15 season was a serious low point for AC Milan. The fourth campaign following their 18th and most recent Scudetto culminated in a 10th place finish, their lowest since 1998. That Rossoneri side, featuring the likes of Montari, Honda, Essien and Jeremy Menez, finished an enormous 35 points behind title winners Juventus and missed out on Champions League football for the second consecutive season by 12 points. Fast forward 6.5 years and Milan are in the midst of their second successive title race, playing entertaining front foot football with their best shot at a Scudetto since Allegri's departure. Their technical director Paolo Maldini, one of the greatest players of all time and a 5-time Champions League winner spread across 3 decades of service, has been central to their resurgence. Today we want to break down his role at the club and the structure around him, the changes in playing style, recruitment and philosophy that he has implemented, and where they're going next. Welcome back to EFD Explained. This is how Paolo Maldini resurrected Milan. Throughout Milan's years in the doldrums, Maldini made his displeasure with the state of affairs at his boyhood club abundantly clear. Its fortunes mattered enormously to him. After all, he grew up supporting them, went on to represent them for 25 years, winning 27 trophies, and finished as their all-time appearance maker, having played over 900 games. He's only ever known one thing. His father Cesare, who later managed the club and the Italian national team, was the captain of the Milan side that won the European Cup in 1963, becoming the first club outside of Real Madrid and Benfica to do so, whilst his son Daniel, a member of the current first team squad, continues that legacy. Following his retirement, Maldini would regularly be asked to share his opinions. In 2012, he told La Repubblica that the club had lost its magic, specifically calling out the lack of leadership in the side. He also claimed then owner Silvio Berlusconi and his hierarchy didn't particularly want him there. In October 2014, 2 months into the aforementioned horror season, Maldini claimed that whilst it's difficult to operate without money, their summer acquisition showed that they had planned little. The legendary defender who could play across the backline made clear he'd be willing to work for the club to plug the holes of the sinking ship, but that he wasn't interested in a role just for the prestige of it. But if they came calling, he would answer. In August 2018, that call finally came. Investment management company Elliott Management had been forced to repossess Milan from Chinese businessman Li Yonghong and became majority shareholders. The financial situation was precarious. The previous ownership had gambled, spending a net €93 million across 2015-16 and €165 million across 2017-18, only to finish 7th and 6th. Not only that, but according to James Horncastle in The Athletic, the side's wage bill in 2017-18 was the second highest in Serie A. This mismanagement saw the club fall foul of financial fair play and would eventually see them banned from European competition for a year, which they served in 2019-20. The new leadership decided to do things differently. In August 2018, they finally brought Maldini into the fold, appointing him Sporting Strategy and Development Director to work alongside then Sporting Director Leonardo. In September, they took the crucial step of hiring Arsenal chief executive Ivan Gazidis, who had over 2 decades of experience working in professional sport. He formed a technical committee featuring head of football operations Hendrik Almstadt, sporting director Ricky Massara, chief scout Jeffrey Moncada, a representative of Elliott, and Paolo Maldini, who was promoted to technical director within a year of joining. As Gazidis told The Athletic, the committee's job was to create a new Milan, but one that has all its values in it. They quickly laid out the vision for this new and improved version, with Gazidis telling The Athletic, "Our strategy has to be based first of all on progressive football. It has to be football that is modern." In order to do this, the Rossoneri could no longer rely on an agent-led recruitment strategy, one that had seen players such as Carlos Bacca, Nikola Kalinic and Krzysztof Piątek all signed for fees of at least €23 million. The focus shifted to creating a world-class analytical and scouting department that would target young, hungry players with a high sell-on value. The Athletic report that the 20-person analytics team used StatsBond data, an industry-leading data provider that is utilised by teams including Roma, Fiorentina and Liverpool, along with many, many more. The vision was now clear, but implementing it was going to be another matter entirely. It's worth noting that the changes brought in by the technical committee were not only smart but also completely necessary. Their previous policies had not only left them banned from Europe, but cut adrift of the domestic competition. In 2005, the year of their dramatic Champions League final defeat to Liverpool, the Rossoneri ranked 5th in the Deloitte Money League. Their financial results showed they made just €53.5 million less than Europe's richest side Real Madrid that year. By 2019-20, they found themselves 30th on the list, with an annual revenue of €148.5 million, €566 million less than first place Barcelona, and below clubs including Sheffield United and Wolves. Given the circumstances, Maldini and his team had to get ahead of the competition. Key to this was the appointment of chief scout Geoffrey Moncada. Central to Monaco's shift in policy that saw them move away from spending huge amounts on players such as James Rodriguez and Radamel Falcao, towards younger, more shapeable talent like Bernardo Silva, Fabinho and Kylian Mbappe, Moncada quickly set about doing the same at Milan. How does Maldini fit into all of this? In an interview with The Athletic, he told them that his job has two roles. The transfer window is open all year round, you meet agents and people who work in the game. Then there's the sporting side to it. You go and watch training, you go to the game. It's been incredibly useful to Milan that their technical director is Paolo Maldini, footballing legend. Look at the case of Theo Hernandez, the archetypal new Milan signing. At 22 years old and having impressed on loan at Real Sociedad from parent club Real Madrid, the Rossoneri correctly identified him as having the potential to be among the best in the world. Maldini personally flew out to Ibiza to meet Theo during his holiday, and to say he was impressed by the personal touch was an understatement. I knew him to be a legend and a true great, and he admitted Maldini gave him a lot of advice during the meeting. The deal was done, and Hernandez has developed into one of Europe's most devastating left-backs, with 34 goal contributions in 100 games for the club. In the words of Gazidis, there is nobody like Maldini when he believes something to convince a player to come to Milan. Maldini and the technical committee's work in transforming the squad has been clear for all to see. Just 4 of the 23 players from the 2017-18 season, the final campaign prior to Maldini's arrival, Kessie, Romagnoli, Calabria and Conti, remain at the club, with 10 of their 11 most used players this term being brought in under the new leadership. But Maldini is far from just a glorified cheerleader, wheeled out to seal the deal on various incomings. Fikayo Tomori told the Daily Mail earlier this year that his mere presence at training raises standards. He is at the training ground every day, so me as a defender, I want to impress him. Whilst Maldini and his team might have secured the signings of the likes of Rafa Leao, Benacer, Theo Hernandez, Salamakers, Tonali, Tomori, Magnon and Rebic since 2019-20, all of whom have become key first-team players, he also wasn't afraid to sprinkle some much-needed experience into the side. Hungrier and Ibrahimovic arrived in January 2020, and in Pioli's words helped the team grow in confidence and conviction. Pioli claims their impact, plus research into eventual treble winners Bayern Munich's system, saw Milan's form completely change post the March 2020 lockdown. Milan went unbeaten through the final 10 games of that season, and have lost just 9 of 65 league games since the enforced break, 6 fewer than giants Juventus in the same period. Despite the presence of 32-year-old Hungrier and 40-year-old Ibrahimovic, the average age of players used by Milan this season is just 25.5. Third lowest in Serie A behind Spezia and Empoli. Interestingly, Juventus ranked 12th, Napoli 15th and Inter Milan 19th by that metric, suggesting that even if they don't get over the line this season, their fine work won't be wasted. And this energy and freshness is evident on the pitch. Milan are now one of Italy's most intense pressing sides, with no sides completing more pressures in the final third, and only Atalanta and Empoli bettering their 8.6 passes per defensive action, a figure that has dropped from 10.7 in 2017-18. Whilst players such as Tomori and Theo Hernandez continue to excel, two of the brightest spots of Milan's excellent season so far have been Brahim Diaz and Sandro Tonali. Signed on a 2-year loan deal from Real Madrid in September 2020, Diaz showed enough promise last season that when Calhanoglu jumped ship to rivals Inter last summer, Maldini's team decided they didn't need to sign a direct replacement. Their faith has been rewarded with the 22-year-old playmaker just 3 goal contributions short of his 2021 total by mid-December. As for Tonali, he was signed amidst competition from Inter on an initial €10 million loan fee in September 2020, with a €50 million option to buy and a €10 million bonus. The structure of this deal meant that Maldini could land the boyhood Milan fan in the midst of a COVID-affected market. But after a disappointing first season, he managed to restructure the deal, paying just €17 million with a €3 million bonus to Brescia, cutting €7 million off the price. The 21-year-old has been a revelation this season, clearly benefiting from the show of faith. Whilst they are currently 1 point behind champions Inter at the time of writing with just shy of 50% of the season played, Milan's underlying numbers suggest the gap will eventually widen. They have scored 7.7 more goals than XG suggests they should have, the third largest overperformance in Italy behind Lazio and Verona, and should be 5th by expected points. In fact, only Real Madrid have overperformed their expected points by a larger margin than Milan's 10.1 at the time of writing in Europe's top 5 leagues. Even with Napoli losing Osimhen, Anguissa and Koulibaly, and Inter having to contend with European football, it seems unlikely that Milan will end their wait for silverware this season. But that misses the point. Given their respective age profiles, success of their strategy so far, and plans for a new €1.2 billion 60,000-seater stadium in development, the Rossoneri appear to be setting themselves up for a sustained assault on the title. With the top sides making €100 million per year from stadium revenue and Milan bringing in just 30, this new stadium will be essential in ensuring Milan's recovery continues. Contrary to popular belief, this has been far from Milan's worst period in their 122-year history. They went 44 years without winning a title between 1907 and 1951, and were even relegated twice in the early 80s. But whilst it has been a team effort from Elliott, Gazidis, the technical committee, Pioli and the players, we struggle to see how Milan would have got back to where they are today without Maldini. The connection with the past, working towards a better future. So guys, that was our EFD Explained on how Paolo Maldini resurrected Milan. What did you guys think of it, and what do you guys want to see us cover next on Explained? Let me know in the comments down below. If you've enjoyed it, please do smash that like button and hit subscribe to EuroFootball Daily, and I'll catch you next time.